can you go first this week?
Yeah. Why?
Cool, good, thank you. There's a reason. Just go with it when it happens.
I kind of wanted you to go first, but it's fine. I'll go first.
Why?
Because I was supposed to go first anyway. But I was hoping that
okay.
you might forget, and you asked me first to go first, so...
Sorry. Why do you want me to go first?
Well, there is a reason.
Oh, I've got a reason as well.
We both got a reason.
This is interesting. No, I asked first. You didn't swear at me.
No, I did scissors. Okay.
Good.
Two friends just made a podcast. Two good friends just made a podcast. Two friends just made a podcast. It's called Culture Bucket. Two friends just made a podcast. Two good friends just made a podcast. Two friends just made a podcast. Culture Bucket, Georgia and Alex.
Okay. Thank you for joining us. Welcome back to Culture Bucket. Another episode is in your ears right now. Today we're doing top 5 musicals. We're feeling musical. I'm your host, George, as always. And with me, as always, is Alex. Hi.
Hi. Hi, George. Hi, everyone.
Hi. Yeah, hi, everyone. We're comfortably in 2021 now. It's probably February as you're hearing this.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how exciting. A new era has begun in the world.
A whole new world.
Exactly. Aladdin is excited. So, today we're going to bring you top 5 musicals. We're going to discuss our homework from last time, which should be exciting.
Mm-hmm.
But first, as always, it's time for a little bit of culture catch-up.
This is culture catch-up time. This is where we talk about what we've watched, what we've read, what we've listened to, and probably some other stuff. Culture catch-up time.
Yeah, so I've had some time off, so I've been watching a square screen for a while.
Lovely.
So I finally watched the entire first season of His Dark Materials.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The Philip Pullman adaptation.
The Philip Pullman adaptation of... so the season 1 is from his first book, if you're an English audience, is Northern Lights. And if you're an American audience, is The Golden Compass. I don't know why they changed it. Do you know?
Why did they change it? I think... because they felt like... I think the cover art, isn't it, is of the alethiometer, which isn't a compass. It's absurd.
Yeah, exactly.
But then I think they wanted to draw people in by having it be like, oh, that's an interesting object. What is the Golden Compass? Whereas Northern Lights is a bit more, I guess, anonymous. It doesn't really mean anything necessarily.
I guess so. I do prefer
I
Northern Lights,
disagree, but that's what they did. They should have called it at least the Golden Alethiometer, but then people wouldn't have known what that was.
Yeah. So if you don't know what the Northern Lights is, the first book introduces Lyra. She's an orphan and she lives in a world where everyone has a demon. And once you reach puberty, and this demon changes a lot. But if you're a boy, you have a demon girl, a girl demon, and if you're a girl, you have a boy demon. And when you're a kid, it changes. It shapeshifts. Sorry. And when you hit puberty, then it stays one animal. So yeah. And so in the first book, she uncovers a plot that involves stolen children, and she wants to find out what happens because her friend Roger goes disappearing, and it's amazing. It's beautiful. So this series, I thought at the beginning it went quite slowly. It took me maybe a few weeks to get in. Like I watched one episode, then a week passed, then I watched another episode. But then the more the series went on, the better it got. The more I watched, and by the end I was hooked, and I cried like a baby at the end. I knew exactly what was going to happen, but I cried. Just brought back lots of memories.
That's interesting.
I love the portrayal of Mrs. Coulthard. I think she's amazing. She's scary. she's sweet, she's powerful, she's evil. I wasn't convinced about Lyra, but I think because she's a young actress, and I'm not diminishing her age, I think she had to get into the part, and the more
Mm.
the story went on, the series went on, she got better and better and better, and by the end, she's really cool. And I think in the second season, she's going to be amazing. And I think the second
Okay,
season is going to be
interesting.
the second book.
The Subtle Knife.
Yeah, which is kind of, I love the subtle knife, and yeah. And
Yeah.
then they're renewing it for a third season as well. So I think they're going to be
That's
able to
cool.
do all 3 books, which is amazing because after the first film, which was not too bad if you've never read the books, but pretty bad if you read the books. I don't know. I'm excited. Did
That's
you
cool.
manage to finish it?
No, I watched, I think, 2 or 3 episodes. The last one I
Mm.
remember watching is where Lyra escapes from Mrs. Coulter's apartment in London during
Yeah.
the party.
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
I sort of fell off it because I think, like you said, I wasn't keen on the actress playing Lyra.
Yeah.
The character just seemed more passive than the one in the book, if you see what I mean.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And I don't know, it's not that I actively hated it or disliked it, but it just didn't grab me enough to give it the time, and there was other stuff on, that I was watching and things like that, so I didn't really prioritize it, and then ended up just falling off it. I'll probably watch it again at some point, because the casting is amazing. Like, Ruth Wilson, who plays Mrs. Coulter, is really good in it.
She's so good. And it gets better.
And
She gets eviler. Oh, it's so good. And that's the episode that it just, after that episode, it gets better.
Okay.
Just because.
How do they do Ioic Burnison? Is that well done?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's very well done. Like, I enjoyed it.
And how's Lin-Manuel Miranda in there?
Let's not talk about it, because in the books I said that Lee Scoresby was my favorite character, and I don't think Lee Scoresby is my favorite character anymore.
Oh no, that's sad.
I don't know what's with him. Like, I think it's too jolly. I don't know. He's just like, I know Lee Scoresby's a nice guy, but not that jolly. I don't know, but it's okay. Well,
You've got a real
Eh?
bee in your bonnet about Lin-Manuel Miranda.
I know, and especially, this episode we're going to talk about musicals, and I just watched a lot of stuff with Lin Manuel, and like, oof,
Right, fair enough.
yeah, and then I watched a Netflix film called The Life Ahead, which is an Italian film, and the Italian title is La vita davanti a sé. Is a film with Sophia Loren. Do you know her?
I mean, I recognise those words, but I don't know her.
Incredible, amazing Italian actress, like powerhouse of Italian acting. If you're Italian, Sophia Loren. She's amazing, and she's been in incredible films, and she has retired from acting. However, this film is directed by her son, Edoardo Ponti, and so she came back to act for this film, and she is amazing. So the story is about this boy, Momo, played by Ibrahima Gouye, which I think is his first film. And he's a boy from Senegal who has lost his mother, and he wants to kind of find kind of a family again and meaning to life again. So he kind of finds family in this man who is a drug dealer in the city the film is set. And so he does petty crime to look cool, and however the person that kind of has him in custody, a Dr. Cohen, he doesn't want him to have that kind of life, so he takes him to his friend, this woman called Madame Rosa, who is a former prostitute, and she and a Holocaust survivor actually as well. And her she stopped being a prostitute, and now what she does is what she's been doing for years is look after the children of the prostitutes in the area, because it's not a very rich area. um and so yeah, and then it's kind of how they get used to each other, and how then she helps him, but then in the end he helps her, because various issues happen. And it's a beautiful film and really nice, and it kind of shows how, like, people that might be considered the lows of society are the ones that are the most open and there to help you, because they know how it feels to be not accepted and not have a family, or be maltreated. Yes, mistreated. That's an Italian word, maltreated. Mistreated. And yeah, and it's a beautiful film about community, about love, and it's very nice, and it's on Netflix, and I would definitely recommend it.
Lovely. What's it called again?
It's called The Life Ahead.
The Life Ahead. When did it come out?
It came out in 2020, I think November 2020.
Okay.
Yeah, it was
I
supposed
hadn't
to
heard
come
of
out.
it at all. Is it sort of? Are they just putting it out in it? I mean, I'm sure it's out worldwide, but is it maybe bigger in Italy? I just hadn't heard of it at all.
Well, it's probably bigger in Italy because it has Sophia Loren. But it was supposed to come out in the cinemas, but because of COVID, they put it on Netflix straight away. Yeah.
No news.
Yeah, very good.
What
Recommend.
up next?
What up next? What up next? I'm carrying on my marathon of films with Chadwick Boseman, and my next film is Ma Rainey's Black Bottom.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, another film on Netflix,
Yes.
starring Viola Davis, Chadwick Boseman, Colman Domingo, Glyn Turman, Michael Potts, Jeremy Samus, etc., etc. It's a film set over the course of an afternoon recording session in 1920s Chicago. And while this band of musicians is waiting for the mother of blues, played by Viola Davis, Ma Rainey, and she's late for the session, and they kind of like, what the beauty of this film, before I carry on, is just when it finished, I was like, it feels like a play, because it's only set in basically two rooms, the recording session room and the artist room. And
like the green room.
Yeah, the green room, which is not really a green room. And it's like, well, it's basically the basement. And
right.
It's so there's lots of monologues, and I was like, oh, this sounds like a play. In fact,
it is a play, right?
Yeah, it is a play. I didn't know about it. Yeah. And then at the end, after the film, there's also a special. So I watched the special because I really, really enjoy the film. And so it's basically the film is about the musicians waiting for Ma Rainey, and she's arriving late, and then just trying to start recording, stopping recording, from room to room. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful film. Well done. Chadwick Boseman blew my mind. There's a scene where he does a monologue where I was like in tears. It was so beautiful. I was just like, yeah, what like. It just upsets me that such a powerhouse is not. I can't see him anymore. And there's this beautiful scene where he's talking to Jesus, and it feels, and that he knows that he's dying because he's so skinny in this film, and it's one of his last ones, and it feels like,
I saw in the trailer,
and it feels like he's like talking him to Jesus, and it's just it's beautiful, and it's a climax of a film. It's just a big climax, like a big theatric. It's beautiful. I recommend it 100 times. I even recommend watching the special, because when it finishes, you don't want it to be finished. And so straight
Mm.
after on Netflix, like, do you want to watch the special? Like, yes, I want to watch the special.
It's pretty
And-
short as well, isn't it? So
Yeah, it's only like an hour and a half.
yeah.
Yeah, and Viola Davis is amazing, and everybody is really good in it. And I think as a film, being like as a play being put into a film must have been quite challenging, because
Mm.
being in a theater is completely different, and how you do things, and like your feelings in a theater have to be like 100, don't they? Because you have to
Yeah.
show how you feel, and this kind of worked even if it was in film and you didn't have to be so much. It still worked. Oh,
Yeah.
it's beautiful.
There's definitely
film.
examples of things that work really well in the theatre just being transferred into film
Mm.
and completely not working. I'll
Yeah.
be talking about an example of that in a little bit.
Great. Yeah. But no, I thought this really worked. The music, great. I found out about Rainey, who seemed to be like a pretty cool, awesome woman. And it's about race struggle, power struggle, and how, she was, how powerful Ma Rainey was by, being her. And yeah, it's a really, really good film. I definitely recommend it. And I love Chadwick Boseman more and more.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk of him getting a posthumous Oscar for that film, potentially.
Oh, if he did, it definitely deserves it, because that scene, that monologue in the scene is just incredible. Like one of the best things I've seen in a long time. Yeah, and then what else have I watched? Oh yeah, I watched Spider-Man Homecoming. I
Oh, finally,
bit the
good.
bullet, paid for it. Wish I hadn't. Next.
Wait, hang on. What?
It's rubbish.
What are you talking about? It's not
rub-
rubbish.
I don't think I like Spider-Man. I think I just
Oh
don't
my
like Spider-Man.
good lord.
Rubbish.
You,
Like
you liked
absolute-
Into the... It's not
Oh.
rubbish.
Oh, it's terrible.
What are you talking
Oh,
about?
it's terrible. I was so bored by the end. I think, yeah, I was so bored. Did not care for it. Also, I think
You
I've
are
already seen
a
it.
strange person.
I don't know. I knew that, what's his name? Michael Keaton was the bad guy. I don't know how I knew, but I knew.
told you that.
Eh?
I told you he was the bad guy in like
no,
an
no,
episode
no.
of his-
Sorry, completely. No. I knew that
confused.
Michael Keaton was the father. Like I knew, so I was like,
Oh, I
"Have I seen
see.
this
Oh,
film?
right,
Is it that predictable? Have I seen it? I don't know. Rubbish. Oh my! I'm gonna watch the other one as well, because apparently it's better.
Right.
Talking with my sister, she's like, "Watch the Far From Home. It's really good. I don't have to pay for that one, thank God."
Far From Home is really good.
But this one was rubbish.
Wow.
Yeah. Sorry.
Wrong opinions on the podcast.
I know. That's terrible, isn't it? Like I like the actors as singles. I think it's a cool idea. I love the aunt. She's amazing, and but I don't know. I just which is
I like
bad
that they made it a
because I
proper
love
high school
teenage-
film.
I love high school films. Like that's my
I know.
thing.
I thought you'd be really up your street.
I thought it would be really up my street. I just think maybe
The supporting
I just,
cast are really charismatic. Zendaya's really good in it.
Yeah, I just don't like it.
It's fair enough. If you don't like it, you don't like it. Can't be
Exactly.
forced to like it.
No. And then a film that we already spoke about, so I'm just gonna say I watched Enola Jones. Thought it was brilliant. Really good film.
Oh no, Enola Holmes.
I put Enola Jones on my thing. Why did I
It's
put
not Enola Jones, though, is it?
And then I watched the film that we already talked about, Enola Holmes. I thought it was really good. Good recommendation,
Cool.
George. Really, really.
Oh, you're
really.
welcome. I'm glad you
Yeah.
liked it.
Yeah, I thought it was brilliant. Actually. Yeah. And it wasn't too long. You said it was too long.
It was too long.
I thought it was just right.
Okay, well, that's up to you.
And that's it for me for things that I really enjoyed this my past week. Yeah.
Cool. But check out Far From Home and see what you think. It's
Yeah,
got
I'll
Jake
check
Gyllenhaal
Far From
in
Home.
it, so
Yeah, I've been watching a lot of videos with Jake Gyllenhaal. I think
Yeah, I
YouTube
know, yeah.
thinks I love him. And so it just keeps appearing and I keep sending you videos of him.
that's absolutely fine. Keep going with that.
What about you, G to the F
What
to the
about
D?
me? Yeah, well, I've watched a few films and a TV show, so let's have a little chat about them. I saw the new Wonder Woman film, Wonder Woman 1984.
Yes, mate.
Yeah, finally, after about a year of trailers and teasing, finally was able to see it, which is cool. It was interesting to watch it. I watched it in early December before it hit HBO Max in America on Christmas Day, and the kind of big critical consensus came out where it's gotten really slated, actually.
Yeah.
People aren't liking it. I liked it, but I thought it wasn't a patch on the first one, which made me cry in the cinema when I saw it. So it was
Aw.
going to be a tough act to follow.
Hmm.
But it's a fun, big, exciting superhero movie with like a plot that has a lot of problems and one villain, Maxwell Lord, played by Pedro Pascal, who has got that classic issue of like, I just didn't quite understand why he wanted to do any of the things he did, other than that it made life difficult for Diana Prince. And then Kristen Wiig as Cheetah, who is she's very good in it, but her character again is kind of misused, which is disappointing. But it's got some fun action. The chemistry between Gal Gadot and Chris Pine is excellent again, and the 80s setting makes for a lot of kind of fun visuals and set pieces and stuff like that. And it's a comic book movie in the way that comic book movies haven't been recently, where like it includes elements from the comics that you wouldn't expect films now to include because they'd be considered too cheesy and silly, and it's not afraid to kind of go there with some of those elements, which is fun. And I had a good time with it, but it's not a patch on the first one. But I do think the bashing it's had from people is probably unearned, but what can you do? Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like DC Comics don't make good films. I haven't watched either Wonder Woman. I should really, but I've heard.
You should watch the first Wonder Woman movie. Is amazing. Like it is.
Yeah,
a good
I've heard
film.
it's amazing, but I heard from the same person that thought the first one was amazing. The second one was absolute rubbish.
I wouldn't. I don't. I think that's unfair. But people are entitled to their opinions.
Yes.
I also watched a Russell Crowe film, a new Russell Crowe film from 2020 called Unhinged. Have you heard of Unhinged?
Nope.
Unhinged is. Have you ever seen Falling Down with Michael Douglas? It's a great film from like the 90s. He plays a man who snaps in a traffic jam one day. And then just goes on
I
like
have
a sort
seen
of
that one. Yes.
It's a good film, right?
It is a good film.
Yeah.
It is.
Unhinged is almost like a soft remake of that film, but with Russell Crowe as in the Michael Douglas role. And I don't know if he's wearing a fat suit or if he's just beefed up, but he looks like a bull elephant in this movie, Russell Crowe. It's crazy. He is huge.
Yeah.
And basically the film opens with him walking into a house and burning it down, and you don't really know why. And then it cuts to this young mum taking her son to school one day, and she kind of ends up behind him in a traffic jam, and like a crossing, a stoplight, and it turns green and he doesn't move, and he's in this enormous 4x4 that like is ridiculously big, like the kind of car you'd only get in America.
Yeah.
And she's in like a car that's a normal sized car but looks tiny, and it's parked next to his car, and she beeps him and goes around him, and then he spends the rest of the film chasing her down for beeping at him. And it's pretty like, it's not important or special in any way, but I watched it twice actually over December because I enjoyed it so much.
Okay.
I would definitely recommend it. It's a really fun time. It's a bit of a silly film, and it's not going to change your life, but Russell Crowe is really good at it. Because there's a scene where he smashes a coffee mug into another man's face that I could rewind and watch over and over again. It's so. He's a brilliant. He's a good actor. What can I say? So that was Unhinged, worth watching. After that, I watched a film. I finally watched the film that, when I was growing up, was always hailed as the best film of all time, but I think nowadays is sort of not quite talked about as much, but is still regarded as like a classic that I just had never watched for whatever reason. And I realised it was on the iPlayer in the UK and could be easily watched. So I sat down over Christmas and watched Citizen Kane.
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen Citizen Kane, Alex?
Yeah, a long time ago, though.
Yeah, everyone seems to have watched it a long time ago. I just had never gotten around to it. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I had the absolute best time, and I knew the twist. I think the reason I hadn't watched it for years is because I know what Rosebud means, which is kind of the whole sort of kicking off point of the film is them trying to find out why this media mogul says Rosebud as he's dying. But ultimately, that isn't actually important. Like, that's like the little twist at the end, but the film is really about the examination of a life and kind of a man who shapes the world around him. And watching it in the age of Donald Trump is fascinating. Like, the parallels are crazy.
Definitely.
I can't remember exactly specifically, but there's a couple of scenes that feel oddly prescient, consider like things that he does that have then Donald Trump has done in real life that is bizarre to, like, I don't know, imagine.
I need to watch it again.
But yeah, you should watch it again. And like anyone out there who hasn't seen it, don't be put off by the fact that it's from the 40s. I mean, I'm probably the last person to watch it or whatever, but if you haven't seen it, don't be put off by the fact it's an old film. Like, it's incredibly watchable. I was enraptured by it for 2 hours and thought it was brilliant. The performances. I mean, Orson Welles is incredible. I mean, prior to watching Citizen Kane, my main experience of Orson Welles was in the Transformers movie from the 80s, which is very different.
Is that the only thing you watched with Orson Welles?
No, I'd seen The Third Man, but like years ago. Whereas I've watched the Transformers movie a lot, and he voices Unicron in that film, the living planet.
I did not know it was in the Transformers movies.
I think that was his final role, potentially.
Probably, yeah, because he was. I didn't even know he was alive in the 80s. Yeah, he died in 1985.
Yeah. I think it was his final role.
A
worthy one to end on, Transformers, the movie. So yeah, Citizen Kane is incredible, obviously. Then, similar to you, I kind of cracked out one of those unseen Chadwick Boseman movies that you have to ration out carefully now, because there won't be any more, sadly. And I watched 21 Bridges.
Oh, yeah. How's that?
I was kind of disappointed.
No.
I know, it was. It starts off really strong. He plays a detective. He's great in it, obviously.
Okay, yeah.
He plays a detective who is known for having an itchy trigger finger, and everyone's sort of a bit sceptical of him. And it opens with this gunfight between a couple of criminals and some police, where these criminals just mow down like 10 policemen in this bonkers action sequence. And then basically Chadwick Boseman is on the case, and he's like, well, we've got to find these guys because they've murdered like a load of policemen and it's ridiculous. So the reason it's called 21 Bridges is because they shut down all the bridges in and out of Manhattan, I think it is, to trap these criminals on the island of Manhattan so that they can track them down. And that portion of the film is pretty entertaining, pretty exciting. Chadwick Boseman's great in it. It's really propulsive. It moves really fast. There's a point about halfway, 2/3 of the way through the film where the sort of focus of the movie changes slightly. The plot kind of alters itself and shifts, and it becomes just these scenes of people holding each other at gunpoint and shouting at each other for like the last 45 minutes of the film, and kind of going, you don't want to do this, you don't want to do this, don't do this, you don't want to do this, don't do it. And like that scene will end, and then within 5 minutes there's another set of people holding guns at each other, and it kind of, all the energy it had seemed to drain out of it, and it ended up being which is really disappointing. And I remember when it came out, it got quite a few middling reviews, and I was like, but it looks so entertaining, Chadwick Boseman's good, how can this be? And then that turned out, unfortunate, but can't be helped. I'd say, still watch it and give it a go and see what you think, but I was kind of hoping for more from it, which is unfortunate, but never mind. Then I watched The Christmas Chronicles Part 2 on Netflix. Have you seen The Christmas Chronicles Part 1, Alex?
Nope.
So The Christmas Chronicles Part 1 is a film that came out, I think, 2 years ago, and it stars Kurt Russell as Santa, which is the greatest casting ever, and is a really entertaining, silly family movie that I really enjoyed. I knew about halfway through, there's a scene where Kurt Russell ends up in a prison cell and then has an impromptu musical performance where he's backed by the E Street Band, Bruce Springsteen's band. And I was like, I love this movie, this is the best. And I made my family watch it, and we all loved it. So when the second one came out this year, I kind of was like, right, wait until and then I watched it with my family basically over the Christmas period. And we were all a little bit disappointed by it. I know, it was unfortunate. Because they brought in Goldie Hawn, Kurt Russell's real-life wife, to play Mrs. Claus, which is a great idea.
Yeah, because Goldie Hawn doesn't do films very often, and when she does, you have to watch them.
Exactly.
She's the best.
and she's good in the film. Kurt Russell again is good in the film. They brought in Julian Dennison, the actor who played the young boy in Hunt for the Wilder People.
Okay, yeah.
He plays a troubled elf in it, whose name I don't remember, and I can't be bothered looking it up because it's not worth it. But he's sort of the villain of the piece, and it just sort of feels like they've got everyone back together because people like the first one, but they don't quite know why.
Yeah.
And it got kind of okay reviews, so maybe I'm wrong, but it just, to me, it just sort of dragged the plot kind of. It just didn't happen for me. Wasn't too keen on it. I'd maybe say avoid it. But if you haven't seen the first one, definitely check that out because that's a fun movie. Then, Alex, sorry to keep this negativity train a rolling, but oh my word, we have got to talk about this.
What?
I watched the film Cats.
I actually saw it on your letterboxd, and I was like, I can't wait to hear this. I can't believe you watched it. I can't believe you watched it.
In the week when we're talking about musicals, I felt like I had to watch Cats finally, and I know this has all been said before. It is the worst film I've ever seen. I think it takes the mantle as the worst film I have ever seen in my entire life. It's hideous to look at. All of these actors are naked playing cats that look like people, but with just cat fur on the. It's hideous to look at.
Yeah.
That's the first problem, is that every frame of the movie, you're like, it's upsetting. Very early on, Rebel Wilson turns up as Jenny Anydots and sings her song about being. I mean, they all declare at the start of the movie, in a song that has the word jellicle in it over 60 times, they declare that they are all jellicle cats. What does that mean? Nobody knows. The word jellicle is said in this movie over 120 times. Jellicle. Truly, at the end of the movie, Judi Dench turns to the main cat and says, "Truly, you are a jellicle cat." And what does that mean? Nobody knows what that means. If they're anyway, Jenny Anydots, Rebel Wilson, declares that she's some other kind of cat, even though they've all said they're jellicle cats. She does this song and dance about how she's like a bumpy cat or something. She displays dancing mice that she has that have the faces of human children. Then she displays all of these cockroaches that she's trained to march in a line, and all of the cockroaches have human faces, and then she starts eating them and the cockroaches are screaming. And I'd heard people talk about those two things before, and I thought that was all the horror that Rebel Wilson was going to give us. Then Rebel Wilson tears off her own skin to reveal the same skin underneath, but she's wearing a dress. So she has her cat fur, then she's got a dress on, and then she's put like a onesie over the top of that looks exactly like her skin, and she unzips it and takes it off to it. It's disgusting. It's so disgusting. There's a bit where she's holding this thing that looks like a tail, but it's just pink and it looks like something else, and she's singing it into it like it's a microphone. And then the movie never shows you what it is. She just drops it and it vanishes, and it's like, well, what was that? What on earth was that? It's disturbing. That's just one scene. Like, the movie doesn't have a plot. There's no storyline. It is just cats with silly names like Jenny Anydots, played by Rebel Wilson, Rum Tum Tugger, played by Jason Derulo, and Buster for Jones, played by James Corden, and McCavity, played by Idris Elba. I mean, these just silly names with a range of brilliant actors to James Corden portraying them. And all that happens is a cat will turn up, announce its name, sing a song about what it is. For example, James Corden announces that he's called Buster for Jones, declares that he's very fat, and then sings a song about how fat he is. And then he just wanders off. And then another cat will turn up and announce that they're called Rumpel Teaser and that they like to tap dance. And then they'll do a song about tap dancing, and then they'll wander off and another. It's astonishingly awful. And this is just because of my own personal biases, the only part of it that I even remotely enjoyed was when Taylor Swift turned up and sang a song. I was going to ask about that, actually. She turns up on this moon, and she kind of throws catnip over everybody, and they all go crazy for catnip because it's like cocaine for cats. And then she sings a song about Idris Elba. and I enjoyed it because it's Taylor Swift, but it's still bizarre. She still looks like a mutant cat thing. Ian McKellen and Judi Dench are debasing themselves by being in this, and it's just sad.
Like, that's the thing, they're good actors. Why? Maybe they didn't know it was going to be that bad.
I mean, they must have not known it was going to be that bad, but I can't conceive of what they thought it was going to be. I mean, you can tell that they thought it was going to be Oscar nominated and it was going to be like this big film, and it's just... At the end of the movie, Judi Dench turns and stares at the camera and declares that you've learned a lot about cats. For example, cats are not dogs. That's an actual line that Judi Dench says while staring into the camera and speaking directly to the audience. Like, what is happening? It's just... And then I don't even want to get into the heavy side layer and how the ultimate aim of the movie is that the cats want to be chosen to die. They want Judi Dench to choose them for death so that they can get in this hot air balloon and fly into the sky to heaven. Oh.
Is it based on the musical Cats?
Yeah, and like I people say they love the musical and it's made like billions of dollars. I can't understand how, because it's like, I don't see how this is a case of it working on stage. I mean, I've never seen it on stage. Maybe it really works on stage, but like, it doesn't have a story. There's no story. It's just... And maybe the songs are better live. Like, maybe they did a bad job of the soundtrack, because the songs to me sounded almost universally awful. One person you won't see in the trailers for this, his agent managed to keep him out of the trailers, even though he's in the film, is Ray Winston. Ray Winston plays a cat in this film, a Cockney bad man cat. Awful. Yeah, everyone should watch it, because you should see it to see that it's just beyond the pale. Cats. It's truly a jellicle film. For jellicle cats. Then I watched some positivity. I watched a film called Better Watch Out. It came out, I think, in 2016 from an Australian director. It is a horror film set around Christmas of a babysitter that has to look after she's like 16, she has to look after a 12-year-old for the evening while the parents are out, and people turn up at the home to attack them. It's that kind of film. But it does have a pretty amazing twist on the idea that happens about 45 minutes into the film that sort of reframes the entire thing. I don't want to say... Even saying that kind of spoils it a little bit, so I don't want to ruin it any more than that. But if you get a chance to watch Better Watch Out, I had to rent it on Amazon Video. Give it a go. It's a cool horror film. It's a cool holiday Christmas horror movie, and there's probably more of those than you would think, but it's one of the better ones. So yeah, check out Better Watch Out. Then over Christmas, Disney released on Disney Plus on Christmas Day, they premiered the new Pixar movie Soul.
Yes.
Yeah, which is pretty exciting. So of course I watched Onward, the previous Pixar film, instead.
Okay.
And didn't watch Soul yet, but I think I'll probably watch Soul. But I hadn't got around to Onward, so I decided to sit down and watch Onward, which is a movie where a elf boy played by Tom Holland and his elf brother played by Chris Pratt go on a quest to try and revive their dead father for a day so that they can meet him. Tom Holland's character has never met him, and he died when Chris Pratt's character was meant to be like really young. So it's got all of that Pixar stuff of like a big fun adventure mixed with like some incredibly real, heartfelt, emotional stuff as well. And when it came out, it kind of got some sniffy reviews of being like, yeah, it's okay, but it's not as good as the other Pixar movies. No. You know what? It's brilliant. I really liked it. I would massively recommend it to anyone. It's really well animated. Obviously, it looks beautiful. The performances are all really good. Julia Louis-Dreyfus as the mum as well is brilliant. And yeah, I would recommend it. If you've got Disney Plus and you haven't watched it yet, check out Onward. Don't let the kind of negative response to it put you down, put you out. It was a good time. It was a good time.
Good.
Yeah, other than that, the only other one to talk about, because I watched all of this over the Christmas period and really, really liked it, was the second season of The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you watched any of The Mandalorian yet, Alex?
No, I need to get into that.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil it too much, but I thought the second season expanded the world really, really well. Pedro Pascal continues to kill it as the Mandalorian. It brought back some characters I really enjoyed from the first season. Bill Burr turns up again for a victory lap. Giancarlo Esposito comes back as Moff Gideon. And it just tells a really good story. You find out much more about the child, or Baby Yoda, as everyone calls him. Rosario Dawson turns up in one episode, and she's
Ooh.
fantastic.
La.
And it's great. It's great. It's got good action sequences. It ends in a really cool way that I think has had some maybe negative responses from some people, but I really like the ending of the second season. So yeah, I think that you should watch it, Alex, so we can talk about it more. But
Yes.
I'd recommend it to everyone. The second season of The Mandalorian is as good as the first. In particular, the first episode features Timothy Olyphant, who, again, I probably left him out of our top 10 actors honorable mentions list by mistake, but I really like Timothy Olyphant, and he's great. He is great in his episode of The Mandalorian. So yeah, that's my culture catch up done, dusted,
Nice.
and away. Some negative stuff, but some positives in there as well. Hopefully, some recommendations for people, and now we can get into homework.
Sit down at the back and be quiet and get out your book because it's time to discuss your homework. Now.
Homework time. It was an odd one
Yeah.
last time because we did Marvel films, which both of us have broadly sort of seen all of them. So we did a sort of free homework thing. My job
Yep.
was to watch Moonstruck, and your job was to watch
The Lighthouse. The one from
Lighthouse.
2019.
Yes, Robert Eggers' second directorial feature.
Yes, The Lighthouse. Okay, so you told me to watch The Lighthouse, and like you said, directed by Robert Eggers and written by Robert Eggers and his bro, Max Eggers. What
Yes.
a nice surname, Eggers.
It is a cool surname.
Yeah. So the film stars only a couple of people, Robert
Yeah.
Pattinson and Willem Dafoe. And there
Yes,
is there is one other character, Valeria Karaman, but you only see her in a couple of scenes. Is mainly just the two men.
Yeah,
Man,
pretty much a
not
two-hander.
the two men. So the film is shot in 35 millimeters or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah,
in
it's
black
got an
and
almost... Yeah.
yeah, it's square and is in black and white, and it's about these two men that go on an island in off the coast of Nova Scotia, which is near Canada, so I guess it's very cold and very windy. And they go to a lighthouse to keep a lighthouse, and Ibrahim Winslow is a lumberjack, very quiet at the beginning. And Thomas Wake is a grizzled lighthouse keeper. And it's just these two men on this island going towards insanity by looking after a lighthouse. That's everything that I found about the film. Like, I mean, that everything says, like, even before you watch the film, they go, "Oh, these two men try to keep their sanity on an island."
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's the film.
That's the film. You're a fan of the film, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Good.
I
You
love
really
the
like
film.
this film.
Yes.
So I hope we can still be friends after what I tell you about the film.
Right, okay.
Okay, so first I watched the trailer a while ago. And the trailer, I was like, yes, this is going to be amazing. You know, I got really excited about it. And it's like, yeah. The trailer is great. The trailer is great.
Right.
So the film is square and shot in black and white. So it's very eerie when you get in, and you know, you see the sea, and it's all very like, oh yeah. And then, you know, the film starts, and you're like, okay. And then the film goes on, and you go, oh, okay. And then after an hour, then nothing is still happening, and I just
Everything's happening. So much is happening.
okay. There was no tension in it. It just felt like a lot of, like, for me, tension and madness is about building blocks. Yeah, you build the tension and the madness. Yeah, you build it
Yeah.
and you build it and you build it and you build it until you are at like breaking point. But this film was like up, down, great monologue, boom. There was no building blocks. Like, there was a little bit of everything, but with no substance at all. Like, I felt like it could have done so much. Like when they arrived at the end of the 4 weeks, and I was like, oh, tonight is our last night. And I was like, yes, this is when things are going to get great. I was so excited, yeah?
Right.
And then it wasn't. Like I was expecting one night of absolute madness and didn't deliver. It just went on and on for another few days. And it just felt like Eggers was just trying too much to do this weird thing. Like, for example, at the end, I was thinking also about The Shining. You know, The Shining is just this climax, isn't it? It goes on, it's up a hill, and it just up a hill. And there is a feeling, there is something. Something is making him mad. You can't
Yeah.
see it, really. You can feel it, and it's making him mad. But here, who's making them mad? Because Defoe gaslights him a couple of times. I was like, oh, the first time Defoe gaslights Pattinson, I was like, yes, it's gonna happen. It gaslights him. It's like, oh, you did this, when we know that Defoe did it. And then I was like, okay, that's what's gonna happen. And then he gaslights him another couple of times, and that's it. It's like, well, you can't be the madness. And then I thought it might be the work. It might be, but it wasn't, because then the work stopped. And then I thought it might be this bird. But then the bird bothers him a couple of times. Like, how can you kill a bird? Sorry, massive spoiler. Should I? I don't know. How can you, what happens with the bird? How can you do that after a couple of times you see the bird? Like, I felt like he set up all these things that could have built the madness, and he just didn't follow through. I was so disappointed.
Wow. I feel like he does follow through. I feel like the climax of the movie is just massive,
Not-
like screaming. It goes on and on and on.
But it doesn't, because at one
It
point they're
does.
fine, and then it doesn't, and then
When it climaxes though, when he's chasing him with the axe and things, and that lasts a while. That's at the end of the film.
A while. It chases him with the axe, and then they fight, and then he goes, oh, but I'll beg you, and it was just it just felt like it was just so. It didn't feel like it created any sort of madness. I felt like it was just, I know about Prometheus, and I'm gonna chuck that in. I know about the albatross and that poem from that guy. I'm gonna chuck that in. I love H.P. Lovecraft. I'm gonna put some tentacles in. Like, nothing fell through. Like, there was so many elements of everything, but nothing for me fell through. Like, for me, there was no madness made. And that's the disappointment of it, because I was so excited about maybe seeing another film that maybe, because like The Shining is a horror film, but it's an incredible horror film, and I don't watch horror films, but if it's good, I'm really. But this just, by the end, I was just like, why? Because also one point, Willem Dafoe goes, this could be your mind. This place doesn't exist. And I was like, yeah, that would have been a great idea for the film, but you didn't follow through.
I wouldn't have liked that. That would have been a bad idea.
But it didn't even, for me. Also, the accents. What, like, Willem Dafoe is a freaking pirate, and Robert Pattinson is half English, half some weird Southern accent. I was like, oh, please, Robert, just choose one accent. Choose one.
I thought they did. I mean, I read that they carefully researched those accents. I thought they were
they
quite
carefully
good.
researched them. They didn't deliver them. Like,
I thought they did.
I think Eggers is trying to be stylistic. He's trying to be intelligent. He's trying to get the best actors. He's trying to, and I feel it was just a mishmash of rubbish. Like, why did the mermaid have to have a vagina?
What?
Like, the vagina. Like, there was just like, I don't know. And also I felt it was so male. I don't know. I didn't enjoy it. I didn't enjoy it at all. I'm sorry.
Yeah, wow.
It actually upset me. It really upset me.
Yeah, you've got a very visceral response to it.
Yeah, because I felt it was trying to be like so intelligent. But the only thing important of the lie, we just know that Willem Dafoe wanks and spunks all over it. that's the only importance we have to the light. Like, bloody hell. Can we not? How silly is that?
But that's because it's not just because it isn't made clear in the film why the light's important doesn't mean there wouldn't be a reason for it to be important. Do you need?
Yeah, but
I feel like I
as a
don't need to be
viewer,
told that.
No, but as a viewer, you can have like the light could be incredible and something, and they don't have to tell you. But the only thing good about the light that we have is the fact that Willem Dafoe wanks to it every night.
But there's clearly something in it that's got a
Well, it
power
wasn't
over
clear.
him.
It wasn't clear what it
Oh,
was.
it's clear. I thought it was. I feel like a lot of that stuff that you don't like is because it's left. I don't know. To me, it's left open to interpretation. Like there's a lot of unanswered questions in it, intentionally not giving kind of answers to different things and letting scenarios kind of breathe and not have a definite ending to them, so that the viewer can kind of make their own mind up about what they view it to all mean. That's my take on it. That's why I like it.
I thought it was just a self-important, stylized, masculine energy pile of stuff.
You should watch. I mean, I don't really agree with the masculine energy critique in terms of. I mean, I know it stars two men and everything, but
Like,
I don't see that as a negative.
Explain to me the scene where you see Spunk coming down. I don't understand it.
I'm not sure which scene that is.
Is when he goes up to the light and Willem Dafoe is having a wank, and then the Spunk comes down, and you go, "Why?"
Well, because that isn't that the scene where you see tentacles as well.
Yeah.
So I didn't even view that as being Spunk, as you say. I viewed that as being some sort of otherworldly energy or something. Like I interpreted it differently.
Well, I did.
Did you find it funny? Because part of why I like it is because I think it's really funny. It's like a comedy. Well,
There are some bits that are comedy. Yeah, when Willem Dafoe, when he does his monologue where he doesn't blink about because Pattinson wouldn't tell him that his
it's like, may Neptune rise up and strike you down, and
yeah, and that's the other thing. Like, they're supposed to be two people that are not very intellectual, but they know their stuff. It's like, I don't know. I just felt that it was so inaccurate. So I don't know. I just like it. Like, if you're a seaman, there's so many things. They seem to be too eloquent to be men that were not.
That's interesting because Robert Eggers definitely does his research in terms of trying to find out how people from that era would have spoken and stuff like that. But it's fair enough.
Yeah, but also Robert Eggers let Willem Dafoe keep his hat on inside when he shouldn't leave your hat on inside, and that was definitely. So if you're that eloquent as a seaman, then you shouldn't have your hat inside in the first scene. But so that's the thing. For me, it was just like a lot of like, oh, look what I know, look what I can do, look at me. I don't know. It just felt like irritating. Just irritating.
Wow. I mean, you might be right about that, but I don't think that's a negative necessarily. That he kind of tried to make an intelligent film or.
Yeah, but you can make an intelligent film, and you can like. I wish he got more of the kind of like Greek side. If you're gonna like mention Poseidon and everything, like make it more like more about that. Make the light important. Make him attracted to the light in an interesting way, not just in a spunky kind of way.
That's fair enough. I guess I went into it expecting it to be a Lovecraftian type film, and what I liked was that it ends up being, seems to be irritating to you, is that I liked that it kind of doesn't have any one clear influence over it, and that it sort of pulls in lots of different things without making any one of them the most important or the clearest sort of influence or symbolism. So it kind of leaves it up to the audience to kind of work out.
Okay, but what made them mad? Tell me something that made them mad. Like what?
The light. Something in the light. The light made them mad. There's an energy in the light that draws them in, like it draws in ships.
Okay. But they didn't interact very much with the light, did they?
Well, Willem Dafoe did.
Yeah, but then after, that's the other thing. After the first, because he's supposed to work all night, isn't he? Up in the light. That's his shift. That's what he says at the
Yeah.
beginning. But
Yeah.
then after the 4 weeks they're there, then they get drunk every night, and he seems not to be working anymore. But the light magically works.
Well, again, like then that there could be some of supernatural or otherworldly thing that keeps the light going. It's not run by human hands. And after the 4 weeks, that's when their shift has ended.
It's just rubbish.
So
yeah,
they're
but the
going-
light has to go. Like, how on earth does the light go if the foe is down there? And if the light is
because the
so
light
important, why
the light
giving
is
so
clearly
much time to
supernatural.
Robert
Like the ending of the
Pattinson?
film makes it clear the light is supernatural.
Yeah, the light is supernatural, but why is Willem Dafoe giving so much time to Robert Pattinson instead of giving so much time to the light? Like, it just by the end, the light for a while you don't even see it anymore because it's just them two. So the
Well,
light
maybe
can't
it's
be that
taken Willem
important.
Dafoe over and he's acting through him, and that's why it's
That's
not.
the thing.
He's not
It's
going
just
near it.
too. That's the thing. It makes no sense. This film
Well, that's
makes
why
no
I like
sense.
it. That's what's good about it. Doesn't need to make sense.
But it does have to. Like, you have to have. You have to have a certain kind of sense. If not, I'll just say, I'll just stay in a room and fart for an hour, and that's my film. Doesn't have
Yeah,
to make any sense. It's rubbish.
Yeah, well, we can agree to disagree on The Lighthouse. I hope people who are listening will still watch it because I think it's a
Yeah,
great
please
movie.
watch it and tell me what you think of it. And I think is an interesting watch because I don't know. I just felt it was a self-important film. I don't know.
I'd be very interested now to know what you make of The Witch.
What, do I have to watch it?
No, you don't have to, but I would be interested to know what you think of it because it's a very different film, but with a lot of him doing the same thing, but with a very different sort of set of themes and ideas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah. So yeah, not strong film for me at all.
Nope, fair enough. So, it was my job to watch Moonstruck,
Yes.
the 1987 film written by John Patrick Shanley and directed by Norman Jewison, starring Cher and Nicolas Cage, along with a variety of other actors. It's nominally about a few days in the life of Loretta Castorini, Cher's character, as she deals with marriage proposals and meeting the brother of her fiance, Ronnie Camilleri, played by Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it would
Yeah.
be, I guess, described as being about, but it's really just about this family or set of families going through their lives for a couple of days.
Yeah.
I guess. It is one of the best films I've ever seen. Ever.
Yeah. I'm so
I
happy.
loved it. Completely loved it. I was worried at first because it got to 20. I think there's 25 minutes of film time before you meet Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
And as a Nicolas Cage fan, I was a bit like, when is there going to be any Nicolas Cage in my Nicolas Cage movie? But that whole 25 minutes, I was falling in love with Cher, which shocked me because I've never really seen a film with Cher in before, and she's amazing in this movie. Like, she correctly won an Oscar for Best Actress because she's incredible. She's so good. She's so funny. I think that's the thing that surprised me is it's hilarious. It's a hilarious film, and not like a romantic comedy funny, but just like a straight up comedy. Like, everyone in it is really, really funny all the time. And then when he does turn up, Nicolas Cage it's one of those early Nicolas Cage performances where he is just completely going for it and is determined to make sure that everyone pays attention to him.
Yeah.
His first scene, he just starts screaming about having lost his hand in this accident. And I didn't realise that he had a wooden hand in this movie. But he does. He's got this wooden hand, and she's like, "It's not your brother's fault you lost your hand." And he just smashes this big tub of flour or something, and goes, "I don't care," and starts screaming and screaming. And there's a bit later on, a few minutes later in the movie, where he flips a table, and it is cinema's best ever table flip. You just see this bottle of whiskey go flying up in the air. It's so good. And I had to pause the movie to make myself a big plate of spaghetti as well at the same exact point. Cause even though I'd already had dinner, Cher makes him this steak and starts eating a plate of spaghetti, and I was like, "Oh, that spaghetti looks so good," and I just made myself spaghetti and had it with the rest of the movie.
Did you? That's amazing.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
Olympia
His teeth
Dukakis.
are a mess, aren't they? His teeth.
Oh,
are
Nicolas
a mess.
Cage's teeth. Yeah, they're crazy bad. I couldn't get over the age difference between them is kind of huge.
What between who?
Like I think Cher was about 41 when she made the film, and Nicolas Cage was about 23.
Are you crazy? No.
No, she's 18 years older than him, I read. Yeah,
What?
I know.
I didn't know that.
And the act
I thought they were the same age.
No, and he's over 30 years younger than the actor that plays his brother.
What? Well, I
Yeah.
knew it was a bit younger, but I thought he was just much older than Cher.
No, like the ages of it's not a criticism, but the ages of the actors in this film is crazy. Like Olympia Dukakis, who plays Cher's mum, is only 15 years older than Cher. But Cher recently played. Go on.
But Cher looks so young. Like
No, I know. Well, there's a bit in the film where Cher says she's 37, and I was like, yeah, I mean, you look younger than 37, really. But no, she was about in her early 40s. I only started looking it up because I know that Cher now is quite old, and Nicolas Cage isn't. I mean, nowadays Nicolas Cage is clearly younger than Cher, if you see what I mean.
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So I was like, I wonder if there is an age gap between them.
Wow.
Not that it matters. It's not a negative or anything. It's just
No, it's just shocking because she looks amazing.
She does look amazing.
Yeah.
No, it's a good film, and I really love John Mahoney in it, who plays Frasier's dad in Frasier. He's in it playing a guy that you see a couple of times in a restaurant. Like it felt very like you were talking about Ma Rainey's Black Bottom feeling very theatrical, and like this isn't based on a play, I don't think, but the scenes in the restaurant felt very staged in a theatrical way, and like his character felt like a character you would get in a play because he doesn't necessarily impact the main story, but he adds a lot of flavor to the film. Like there's a monologue he gives where he's talking about why he is like a professor, an academic, kind of asks young students out on dates, which is an abuse of power and he shouldn't be doing it, but he talks about why he does it, and it's an amazing monologue from this guy that I only previously knew as like a sitcom actor, and he really I read that he said that his career really took off after he made that movie, and you can see why. Like you really remember him and his character after the film finishes, even though he ultimately has no bearing. And he's not in the final scene, which is this really amazing scene of them all sat around the breakfast table, kind of waiting for Cher's fiance to turn up, and then he turns up and they have this whole, and it's just brilliant.
Like I love the food. The food is so important, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely food. I mean, it because of that and everything else in it, it feels like the best episode of The Sopranos to me, if you see what I mean. Like everything I really enjoy about The Sopranos, because like I'm not really into gangster movies and stuff, but I really like The Sopranos because of the scenes of them like at home and eating food and just the daily lives of this like Italian American family, and you get all of that in Moonstruck, and it's wonderful. It's such a good film. I would recommend anyone that hasn't watched it should definitely watch it. It's a weird, I always thought it was just a romantic comedy, but it's weirder than just a romantic comedy. Not that that's a bad thing to be a romantic comedy, but it's a very odd film. Like the way, like it is odd to watch Nicolas Cage and Cher, who to me were like clearly very different ages and stuff. And like the speed at which they fall in love in the movie is just crazy. Nicolas Cage is so wild in this film. It's great. It's great. But Nicolas Cage is wild, but Cher is hilarious. Cher's performance in this movie is about as funny as any film I've ever seen. She is as funny as any comedian I've ever watched in this movie. She's so funny. Every like action, every facial expression she has, every movement of her hands is funny. And I read that she thought she was giving a bad performance when she was making the movie.
Oh,
and it's not
really?
until and obviously afterwards she won an Oscar and a Golden Globe, I think, and other things, and like obviously like got a lot of credit.
Mm.
And then after this film, she sort of focused on her musical career and hasn't really been in movies ever since, which is
No.
sad because she's great. Like she is incredible in this film. So
Yeah.
big win for Moonstruck. Loved it.
Who's your
And,
favorite character in it?
who's my favorite character in it?
Yeah.
Cher.
Like mine is the grandpa. I love the
I'd-
grandpa.
Yeah, I could imagine why you'd like the grandpa. He's very funny.
Yeah.
I really like her mother.
Yeah.
Like, I, in terms of, if you're looking outside of the main two, like in terms of
Yeah.
side characters, it would have to be Cher's mother, Olympia Dukakis' character. I think she's brilliant in it. She's very funny as well. Like the scene where she's talking to John Mahoney in the restaurant and is like,
Yeah.
you know, you're too old for them. What are you doing? Like, she's great. She's great.
Yeah.
So I'd go with
Yeah.
her.
Yeah, I'll always remember with like, I don't know, when they walk home from the restaurant, those
Yeah.
two when they go back home. I just always remember that scene. I just love it because it's just so lovely and simple and I love
Yeah,
that
and again,
film. I'm
like
glad.
a more traditional romantic comedy that's only focused on the the couple at the center of it wouldn't have had that scene. Like, there's so many scenes in this film that you wouldn't put in a more traditional film, but that add so much to it. And because definitely, like, by the time Cher and Nicolas Cage actually meet, there's only about an hour of the film left, and I was like, how is it? It's crazy, but it's great, and I loved it. I would recommend it. Okay, so that's Homework, that's Moonstruck. Please watch it. Shall we get into our top 5 for this week?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Our top 5.
I realized
Yeah,
because when we decided on this category, I was
yeah,
excited.
yeah.
And I realized I'm not really a big musical fan.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like I find musicals extremely weird. And I had for years. I think I enjoy them more now, but for a long time, I just thought they were bizarre concepts musicals. So I then realized haven't watched that many.
I mean, they are bizarre
And,
concepts, and you sort of just have to go with it. The idea that people are just going to break into song.
Yeah.
Um,
But for the longest time, I didn't watch many. So
Yeah. And it's
um,
it's interesting that, like, there's definitely, if you look at, I can't remember where I saw it now, but there was a graph of like different genres of film and how much money they make in Hollywood over the years. And you
Yeah.
definitely see like action movies and stuff is really big now. But like
Yeah.
what dominated and ruled the box office in like the early part of the last century was westerns and musicals. Like musicals were the big thing. They won the awards, they made all the money. And nowadays it's kind of like every couple of years a big musical will come along, but they're definitely not kind of the juggernaut of cinema that they used to be.
But also, I think musicals, if you like them, you go and see them in the West End, in
Yeah,
London.
definitely.
So if you like them,
Sorry.
you go and see them. Like I'm not. I think I've been to see, like for example, my sister goes to see musicals. I don't. I've been to see one musical, which I enjoyed in London. But
Yeah, I definitely come
wouldn't-
from the perspective of a fan of cinema when I think about
Yeah.
musicals, because I don't go and see them
Yeah.
live so often.
No. But yeah. So I was maybe my decisions today are quite. You've probably seen them all. So souls. Or maybe
It's
you haven't.
alright.
I don't know.
I know. I mean, I'm a bit similar with. I don't know. I like the musicals I like, but I don't tend to search out musicals or get excited about musicals too much. So
No, not at all. Yeah. So that I thought this week was hard because it was weird. Because we'll see when now.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
Okay. So, musicals. My number 5. My number 5 is a musical that everybody has seen or everybody has heard at least the songs, and it's amazing. And I still really like it. And recently, there's been a TikTok trend with one of the songs, and
you would know. I would not.
yeah, you would not, but and so I was just like, yeah, I love that musical. So my number 5 is a musical called Grease.
Okay, it's a good
Have
film.
you seen it? Have you seen?
I've seen the
it's a good
film. Yeah,
film.
I've seen Grease.
Yeah. Mine are mainly are only films musicals.
Cool.
Yes.
That's fine.
It stars John Travolta, Olivia Newton-John, Stockard Channing, Jeff Conaway, and other people that are not, people. Mainly, mainly
people.
John Travolta, Olivia Newton-John, and it's a musical about teens in love, which is weird because they're not really teenagers. They look like
No,
adults.
they're not teenagers at all.
Yeah, and it's in California, 1958, and Danny Zuko, played by John Travolta, and Sandy Olsen, played by Olivia Newton-John, are in love. They have a summer of love, and then they're all lovely and romantic, but then they have to separate because she has to go back to Australia, and he stays in America where he lives. And he go back to school, but then he doesn't realize that she stayed in America. Aha. And he goes back to school, and he goes back to be the leader of the gang called the T-Birds, who wear these leather jackets, and they're all cool, and they're like
Oh, it's silly.
heartbreakers, and they go out with the pink ladies who are cool, and they wear pink jackets. And then they don't know they're in the same school, and she talks about to her new friends, the pink ladies, about this summer of love with this romantic guy. And but he talks about, so she says all the romantic stuff they did, and then at the same time he tells the T-Birds all the sexual stuff they did. Hella who
I remember that. So,
and then they
loving.
meet again, but they can't be together because she's a good girl and he's a bad guy. But then they twist things around, and then she becomes a bad guy and he becomes a good girl, and then they have the beautiful last scene at the fair. You're the one of the one. Do-da-ba-da-da. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Honey. Yeah. So yeah, that's Grease. I like it. It's fun. It's timeless. I think I watched it when I was a kid. I watched it many times. You'll never grow old, really, because it's a timeless musical. And yeah, that's why it's my number 5. It was the last one to put in, just because I found this week really difficult to choose. But yeah, and I think my favorite song is "Hopelessly Devoted to You." She sings outside, and she's heartbroken. She's outside of I think it's Rizzo's house, and she just sings this song, and she's heartbroken. But now there's no but yeah. And that's the thing, when you watch it, I want to sing with it. I think it's a good musical. Yeah, and that's just a song that made me want to put it in because it's a TikTok trend. And
Oh, is that the TikTok trend song?
yeah,
okay. I
and
think
I've been singing it for a few weeks.
Grease Lightning is my favourite song, I think.
Oh, well, no. Oh, yeah. Grease Lightning.
Go Grease Lightning.
Yeah. And that's all I have to say about Grease.
No, it's a good choice. It's a classic, but it's a classic for a reason.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. What's your number 5?
My number 5 is from 1992. It is the directorial debut of Brian Henson, and it is The Muppet Christmas Carol.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I watch it every Christmas, so I've watched it recently. And when I watched it, I was like, do you know what? This is one of my top 5 favourite musicals. I adore it. Have you seen it?
No.
You haven't seen The Muppet Christmas Carol? Do you
I've
not like...
never watched anything with the Muppets. No,
What?
I don't think they're not really a thing here.
Wow, I'm shocked. I'm stunned.
Yeah.
I'm upset. It's one of my favourite Christmas movies and one of my favourite musicals. It's got fantastic songs in it. It's a great... it's also a very... what's the word I'm looking for? Not honest, but it's a very faithful. It's a very faithful adaptation of the story of A Christmas Carol. Even though it has Muppets in it, it tells the story properly. It does the great kind of very smart decision of casting Gonzo as Charles Dickens. So a lot of his lines in the film are lines straight from the book. Like the opening line of The Marleys Were Dead to Begin With is pretty much the opening line of the novella as well. And it works because the lead performance from Michael Caine as Scrooge is absolutely brilliant. I mean, he's a great actor, and he puts in a brilliant performance in this, and he talks to all the Muppets as if he's talking to real people. And I think that's what makes the film work, is that he doesn't act like he's in a Muppet film. He acts like he's in a very serious adaptation of A Christmas Carol, and it's brilliant, and it works really well. It's funny when it needs to be funny. It's scary when it needs to be scary. The Ghost of Christmas Future is terrifying in it. And it's terrifying again because Michael Caine, you believe Scrooge's fear as he learns, what is his life is kind of destined to become and things. And it's just great. It's just brilliant. My favourite song in it is the song that the Ghost of Christmas Present sings, which is called It Feels Like Christmas. It's in the it's such a wonderful, heartwarming song. I love it. I love the Muppet Christmas Carol. It's a fantastic musical, a fantastic Christmas film, and just a good film all around. And I would recommend it.
Nice.
Okay, what's your number 4?
My number 4 is another film from 2001, directed by the great Baz Luhrmann, and it's called Moulin Rouge!
Moulin Rouge!
Exclamation mark. Yes.
Exclamation mark.
Yeah, Moulin Rouge! Exclamation mark. And it stars Nicole Kidman as Satine and Ewan McGregor as Christian, John Leguizamo as Toulouse-Lautrec, etc., etc. Yes. And it's set in Paris in 1899. And Christian, played by Ewan McGregor, is an English writer and he's come to Paris to follow the Bohemian Revolution, taking hold of the city's drug and prostitute-infested underworld. What beautiful words, isn't it? And he finds himself in a Moulin Rouge, and he sees this beautiful woman called Satine, and she's the star in the Moulin Rouge, and they fall in love, kind of like they meet for the first time, and she thinks he's a different person, and they have a romantic night, and then she realizes that he's not the person that she thought he was, but then she falls in love, but they can't be together because she cannot only have one man, and it ends in a tragic way. Beautiful. I love this film. I love Moulin Rouge, and I remember watching it, and during the time that I was like, I don't like musicals, and then watching Moulin Rouge and having so many songs that I liked reinterpreted in this film, and having the Baz Luhrmann touch and the colors, and I read that he was inspired by one night watching a Bollywood film in India, and how entertaining it is and how everybody sings. In fact, there's a beautiful scene in the film where there's this amazing song which I can't remember the name, but it's beautiful, energetic Bollywood song, and it's just amazing, and it's just beautiful to watch, lovely to listen to. Love Ewan McGregor and Nicole Kidman. I think his film is top notch. Good musical, I think.
I haven't seen it.
You haven't seen Moulin Rouge?
Nope.
Oh, well, that's good in a way, because but yeah, and it's I really enjoyed it, and it's entertaining and tragic because Baz Luhrmann likes a little bit of tragedy, doesn't he?
Shall I tell you what I know about Moulin Rouge?
Tell us.
Voulez-vous coucher avec moi ce soir?
Yes. Yeah. So Christina Aguilera, Mia, I think it was Mia, and another couple of singers which I can't, and Pink. Somebody else did the song again, the Lady Marmalade song.
That's it. Yeah. I mean, it came out. When did it come out in 2001?
Yeah, because it's kind of like
Right.
the track for the film, but I can't remember if it's actually in the film.
When
Yeah.
that was in the middle of when I was in high school, and my high school used to play MTV at lunchtime, and
Okay.
that's
Oh,
that that movie was talked about a lot in school for a
Yeah.
while, and then that song was definitely on MTV a lot and stuff, and that was
I
kind of the
love.
only impact it had on my life, really. It was yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, it's a good film. It's a good Baz Luhrmann film. And yeah, my favorite song is El Tango de Roxanne, which is Roxanne by the Police,
Yeah.
but sung by a Spanish man, well, with a Spanish accent. I'm not sure if it's a Spanish man. While these people like dance the tango. Oh, it's beautiful. It just gives you shivers. It's like Roxanne. Oh, it's beautiful. Yeah.
Lovely
Yeah,
stuff.
and that's my favorite song, and probably one of my favorite scenes. I think my favorite scene is when they do like the Indian song, but it's a good musical. What's your number 4, G?
My number 4 is a film from 2012,
Ooh.
directed by Jason Moore.
Mm-hmm.
It is the film Pitch Perfect.
Is that a musical?
Definitely a musical.
No,
100%.
no, no.
Why?
Record again. We're doing the list again.
No.
I don't accept that.
Why?
Find
What do you
another
mean?
number 4. No, it's like your Anna Kendrick moment. No.
Well, that's it. Anna Kendrick didn't make it into my top 10 actors, so I'm making up to her by including her in my musicals.
I don't accept this.
It's
Is
a
it
musical.
Don't tell. Oh my god.
Let me read the first line of the Wikipedia entry. Pitch Perfect is a 2012 American musical comedy film. Thank you very much.
I've got it as well.
What do you mean? What are you talking about?
Can I cheat?
No, your list
Can
is
I
your
say
list.
I've got it as well?
No, because we can talk about it now.
I'm so sad. I love that film.
Yeah, it's an incredible film. I remember watching it for the first time and falling in love with it completely, and falling in love a lot with Anna Kendrick. It's about a cappella group at university who compete in a cappella championship. It doesn't matter what it's about. It's funny. Anna Kendrick and the rest of the cast are hilarious, and the songs are really good. And it made like that. And no, I don't know. Like, it made a cappella this big thing again, I guess, which I don't really care too much about. But the music's really good in it. The bit where Anna Kendrick does that cups thing when in her audition, it's so cool. But my favourite song is the Bella's final song at the finals at the end. It's like a mashup of Price Tag and Don't You Forget About Me and a few other different tracks, and it's just an incredibly choreographed thing. Yeah, what do you think about Pitch Perfect?
I love Pitch Perfect.
Yeah.
I love all 3 Pitch Perfect. Like the
Oh,
first one
that's
is the best
interesting.
one. The second one is good. And the third one is good too. They're all good.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy spending time with those characters.
Yeah.
I think the third one is probably I would think the quality goes in line with the numbering, like 1, 2, 3 in that order. I think.
Yeah.
I can watch all of them, but number 1 is special, has a special place in my heart.
Yeah. Yeah, well, like, yeah, I wish it was on my list. Because I just didn't think about it as a musical. I don't know why.
I can't remember why. I think I came across it in a list. I was like looking up lists of musicals to kind of come up with ideas,
Yeah,
and I
me
think I came
too.
across it, and I was like,
Me
oh god,
too,
yeah,
and I
that's
didn't-
definitely a musical.
Yeah, and I watch a lot of lists of musicals because, like, I don't know if I know enough musicals, and then I didn't see that because I would have put that 100%. Never mind.
Like, it's your top honorary mention.
Definitely 100%. It's such a good film. So well done. Yeah. Good choice.
Thank
I like it.
you. Thank you so much.
Cool.
What's your number 3?
My number 3 is my animation entry
Ooh.
because I didn't. Basically my first list was just all Disney. It's like I can't list out all Disney. Choose one Disney.
Yeah.
And although I could have put Moana, I already spoken about Moana, so I put another one.
Okay.
Yeah, because I love Moana. And
We all
yeah.
do.
Yeah, we all do. And my number 3 is The Lion King.
Oh, how good. What a good choice.
What a good film, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's the best. Yeah, it's a story about it stars Matthew Broderick, Jeremy Irons, James Earl Jones, Whoopi Goldberg, Rowan Atkinson and Zazu.
Yep.
Oh. See, that's
I've
the
got
thing.
a
When I
lovely
watched
bunch
the
of
first
coconuts.
time, I didn't have any of these voices because I watched it in Italian.
Oh, really?
And until a few years ago, I didn't even know the songs in English. I only knew the songs in Italian.
Wow.
Yes. But and yeah, we know The Lion King. Yeah, I don't have to talk about The Lion King.
No, it's an adaptation of Hamlet.
Yeah.
Everyone knows
Yeah.
that story, right? It's just
Yeah.
Hamlet.
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I love it, and this is one of the musicals I would like to see on stage because apparently The Lion King
Yeah.
on stage is incredible, and I would love to see that. I think that's something that I would really enjoy watching. But I love it, and I think the best song is Hakuna Matata.
Hakuna Matata. What a wonderful phrase.
Yeah. Hakuna Matata. Ain't no passing craze. But my love again for this came back a few years ago when my kids had to do the play. And I had to teach them a few songs in English. And it was
Oh.
so cool. I just loved seeing my kids doing The Lion King and my 5th graders. So it was lovely. And that's when I think that was like 4 years ago when I learned the songs in English, and they're much better in English than Italian.
Oh, really? It does have so many good. I mean, The Circle of Life is a great song. And then Can You Feel the Love Tonight? I mean, that's just
Oh, Elton
perfect.
John.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you get him involved, you're going to get some good tunes. And then there's a bit where
Yeah.
Rowan Atkinson is singing, I've got a lovely bunch of coconuts, diddly-dee, here they all sitting in a row. Doo-doo. That's a pretty good song.
Yeah.
Big
It's a
one,
pretty
small
good
one,
film.
some as round as your head.
And by the way, I mean The Lion King, not the current one, but the 1994 one.
Not the Jon Favreau one from a couple of years ago.
No,
No.
I haven't watched that one.
Oh, you haven't watched it?
No.
Oh, let me tell you about it.
Is it good? Yeah, I've heard that. Dan, actually, I think he said that The Lion King was one of his favorite Disneys.
Yeah.
And then he watched The Lion King and he was so upset about it.
Yeah, it's
So I don't wanna be
pretty
upset.
bad film.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is a pity because Beyonce was involved, and you know, Donald Glover was involved in it as well. Childish Gambino. They're making a second one for some reason. Yeah,
Why?
I don't know. Jon Favreau's coming back and everything. Like, it's a whole big thing. Lord only knows why. Can't explain it.
I guess it was a success of a film.
I guess it was successful. Ugh, just stop. Right, cool.
By the
Lion
way,
King.
I forgot
yeah.
to ask you before. Are we still
Oh.
friends?
Yeah, why would we
After
not
I
be
said
friends?
that about the lighthouse.
No, it's all right. I mean, you're wrong about it, but it's fine. You were wrong about her smell as well. We can carry on.
Yeah.
And
You were
yeah,
wrong about Hilda.
Hilda's awful. There's new episodes of that out. Have you watched it?
Yeah.
Is it good?
Yeah.
All right.
I know, yeah. I don't want to watch it. Yeah. I'm so excited. I was like, new episodes! Yes! Sorry.
I don't understand. Cool. So that was your number 3, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So my number 3 is the 2017 film directed by John McPhail. But this film certainly isn't a fail. It is the Christmas zombie musical high school comedy Anna and the Apocalypse.
Ah.
Yeah, which I have mentioned a handful of times on the podcast before, but I
Yes.
really do love this movie. It's certainly not one of the more well-known musicals. I think it's fairly obscure, but I really, really like it. It's got a lot of, for what it lacks in Elton John and other, big Broadway names and stuff to kind of make the tunes, amazing or whatever. For what it lacks in that, it makes up for in just an overabundance of heart and effort, and everyone involved is trying incredibly hard to make a film that probably, a lot of people say shouldn't, like a Christmas zombie high school musical comedy set in Scotland is not something that you're going to see every day. And it just took my heart. I love this movie so much. The cast are really good. I think the main actress in it who plays Anna is called Ella Hunt, and I've not seen her in enough other things, but she is amazing in it. She's so good in it. Paul Kay, who's an actor that I really like, people will know him from things like Game of Thrones and other things. He's in it as the head teacher of the school, essentially playing the villain of the piece, and he's really, really good in it. He's got this great song, and the rest of the kind of cast of teenagers, again, mostly unknown people that still are unknown, but they're good. They're really, really good, and yeah, it's worth a watch. And my favourite song in it is Hollywood Ending, which is definitely the set piece musical number in the film. It comes quite early on, and it's all about how there's no such thing as a Hollywood ending. And it features all these Scottish teenagers dancing in a high school cafeteria. It's just great. It's just a great film. If you haven't seen it, please watch it. It's the best. What do you think, Alex?
Yeah. Oh, I haven't watched it, so I think I
But
should.
you like zombie films. You like musicals a bit. You should should watch it. You like Scotland.
Ooh. Yeah, maybe it's gonna be my, my homework.
Oh yeah, maybe you'll come back and be like, I thought that none of the themes made any sense, and it was far too much focus. Where did the zombies come from? It wasn't clear. That might be what happens. Why include all these elements? I mean, you've got musicals, you've got high school, you've got zombies. It's too much at once.
Yeah, but I maybe I didn't get. Oh, shut up! I already said my opinion about that film.
Okay, no, cool.
Never
It's
mind.
it's the best. I really like Anna and the
You
Apocalypse.
know I like a good film.
No,
you
I know you
I'm all for a good film. And I when I like a film like Midsummer, I raved about it and I thought that was intelligent and great and creative. When I see a pile of poo, I will say I saw a pile of poo.
Clearly. But Anna and the Apocalypse is not a pile of poo. It's a wonderful thing.
Good.
It's great. It's great. It's about Anna is this teenager, and it's coming up to Christmas. They wake up one morning and a zombie apocalypse has happened, and her and her friends have to try and get to the high school to save their families who were trapped in there after the Christmas show the previous night. It's great. It's really good. There you go.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Is it funny?
Yeah.
Is it like
It's very.
scary or
It's
funny?
it's very funny. It's not really scary at all. I mean, they don't have the budget to do it to be scary, sadly. But it's pretty funny. There's some good jokes, some good goofs with zombies and things like that, and the songs are really nice. Yeah, would recommend. Would recommend. I've watched it. I've watched it a lot. I've watched it about 4 or 5 times. But yeah, it's good. All right. What's your number 2?
Oh, my number 2 is a musical from 1976, starring a young Jodie Foster and a young Scott Baio.
Ooh.
Oh, and the film is called Bugsy Malone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Have you seen Bugsy Malone?
No.
Oh, so it was made in it's a gangster musical comedy, written and directed by Alan Parker, who also has made some other good musicals. Fame.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen it?
No.
Pink Floyd, The Wall.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. The Commitments.
I've heard of that, but I haven't seen it.
That's such a good film, and I'm really annoyed because I'm on the Wikipedia page now, and I love that film, and I didn't put it in.
Is it an Irish film, The Commitment?
Yes, it is so good. It's so good. Oh, yes. And Evita, which is another musical I love, but I didn't put it in because it was not very historically accurate. So,
Wow, okay,
but never mind. Never mind.
I don't think I've seen any of those films, so carry on.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't think I've seen a single one.
I've seen them all, and they're really good, all of them. So
no, I'm sure they are. It's not. I'm not passing judgment.
No. I just mean I don't know. Like I've seen a lot of music. I just got confused this year, maybe with this time. I don't know. But yeah. So is about is a set in the prohibition area. Area.
The
Let me say it
specific
again.
area that they get assigned for no alcohol here at the zoo. Thank you very much.
So is set in the prohibition era, and well, basically, it's a gangster movie where the gangsters are played by children. So everybody's a child, and instead of real bullets when they shoot each other, they use like splurge guns, which to cover people with cream, and if they want to or like they throw each other cakes.
Yeah.
And the story is about Bugsy Malone and the battle of power in the city between the two gang leaders, which one is Fat Sam and the other one is Dandy Dan. And that's pretty much it. And it's just it's a gangster movie played by children.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Mhm.
And the music is really good in it, and I really really love it. And it's just original, just like the fact that they shoot each other with cream and cakes, and Jodie Foster's in it before she was famous. I think she did this after she did Taxi Driver. I don't know, she did, it was
Okay.
like, yeah, so I think
Close
she
Together.
did Taxi Driver and this one Close Together. But let me check. Yeah. So yeah, she did Taxi Driver before Bugsy Malone, and
Okay.
then the same year she did Bugsy Malone. So it's and if you watch Taxi Driver, well, she's in Taxi Driver, and then Bugsy Malone is kind of like mind blowing. But no, it's a really really good film in my opinion, and my favorite song is called Tomorrow, which is a song sang by this kid while he cleans the room, because he wants to be an actor in the club, or he wants to be the singer in the club. And Fat Sam tells him, tomorrow I'll hear you tomorrow, and then he just sings this song and it's beautiful. But yeah, fun films, good film. And
Cool.
yeah,
I've got
Bugsy
a big spoonful of cynicism for Bugsy Malone.
why?
I just think it sounds awful.
Well, maybe
I don't know what to say. I can't. I know I haven't seen it. I shouldn't judge it without having seen it, but I've never watched it because What are the crime bosses called in it?
Fat Sam and Dandy Dan.
Oh, what is Dandy Dan? What is that?
But they're children.
Oh,
like,
I just
oh
wanna
my
hate it.
goodness.
I don't have the energy
Okay.
for it. Sorry, I'm sorry. I don't want to. But just when it comes to what was your number 4 choice?
Moulin Rouge.
Just I'd rather watch Moulin Rouge.
No, I'm sorry. No, no,
Don't make
no
me
way.
watch Bugsy Malone.
No way. I'm gonna be so mean this week.
Oh no. Oh God. Right. So that's your number 2.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Right. I really hope I haven't seen your number 1.
Why? I'm choosing what you're gonna watch.
I know. Okay. So my number 2.
Yeah.
My number 2 is the 2020 film, the 2020 Disney musical filming of the musical Hamilton.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Did I confuse you then? I confused myself on how to describe it. It's it came on Disney Plus this year. That's when I watched it.
Okay.
And it is the film of the 2015 Broadway musical Hamilton, and it was filmed in 2016, featuring the original Broadway cast.
For some reason, my weird brain thought the making of Hamilton.
No,
Does it like
I'm
that more than
confused.
Hamilton.
We've talked at length already on this podcast about Hamilton, so I won't go over it too much again. It is the story of one of the founding fathers of America, Alexander Hamilton, and his sort of rise and fall, mainly through his interactions with people like George Washington and Aaron Burr and Thomas Jefferson. My favourite song, I was kind of tough one picking a favourite song from Hamilton, but I went for, partly because of the Song Exploder episode. Have you watched any of Song Exploder on Netflix, Alex? It's a
No.
really good. It's based on there's a podcast of it as well, but it's this guy who interviews musicians about how they write specific songs, like quite famous songs. And they've done a Netflix series of it where he kind of each episode he talks to a different artist about a song that they wrote. So there's an episode where he talks to Trent Reznor about "Hurt," the Nine Inch Nails song. There's an episode of The Killers talking about "When You Were Young." There's an episode of Dua Lipa talking about a song off a new album, and there was an episode talking to Lin-Manuel Miranda about how he wrote "Wait for It," the kind of pivotal Aaron Burr song in Hamilton. And
Okay.
two things that I learned from the episode is that one, "Wait for It" is a really good song, and I think I've decided it's my favourite song from the film or from the musical. It's just a great. It's not hip hop in the way that the rest of the musical is. It's more sort of sung through, more traditional singing, and I feel a bit guilty not choosing a hip hop song or I don't know, but it's a good. "Wait for It" is a really amazing song. The way it builds and the way that he kind of gets across the way he sees the world in opposition to how Hamilton sees the world is really really well done. I love it. And the second thing I learned from watching that Song Exploder episode is that Lin-Manuel Miranda really enjoys Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's a very talented man,
Yeah.
and he knows how talented he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's maybe my problem. I don't know.
Yeah, you kind of have to get over it sometimes with like creative people like that, because like he made Moana, which you loved the music in that and stuff. Like
Well, that's
you
the
have
thing. I love him when he's not him, like
Yeah,
when
yeah,
he's
yeah,
not
yeah, yeah.
present.
yeah. I can see that. I can definitely see that, which is possibly why I've chosen a song that's not one of his. He doesn't sing "Wait for It." Like as much as I
Yeah.
like "My Shot" and Alexander Hamilton and other tracks, like there's something about like Leslie Odom Jr.'s performance in that film is brilliant, and that song is really pivotal. The other great song he does is "In the Room Where It Happened," I think it's called. And it's it's great. His performance is brilliant, and I love that. I love it. I love Hamilton. Obviously, we've talked about it a lot, so let's not go on too much. But that episode of Song Exploder is good. I'd recommend people watch that, and I'd recommend you look up Song Exploder, Alex, and watch any episodes about. There's a good there's an REM one. They talk about losing my religion. It's a cool show. You should check it out. Anyway, what's your number one?
My number one is a classic. I love it. It's always is. I think it was the first one I put on my list, and it's 1964, Mary Poppins.
Oh,
I don't know why- I
Mary
don't know why I did that.
Mary Poppins. Oh,
Mary Poppins.
good choice, Governor.
Yeah.
Wee.
Yeah. Julie Andrews plays Mary Poppins.
She does.
Dick Van Dyke plays the chimney sweep.
He does.
And
Mary
David
Poppins.
Tomlinson, which I love. And it's it's about a nanny that goes and helps this family and brings joy and a little bit of magic into their lives in dusty London. Beautiful. And I just love Mary Poppins, and they have amazing adventures and like something of the story, like Bedknobs and Broomsticks. I love when they go into the cartoon, a bit of it. I always find that really magical, even now in 2020, when you could do anything with films. Just the simplicity of them being in a cartoon, just like, I don't know, it just warms
it's
my
cool.
heart.
It's really awesome
Yeah,
when they jump into
and
that chalk painting.
so good. And today I was watching also some Bedknobs and Broomsticks, and when they're at the bottom of the sea and they sing on the bed, and it's just beautiful. It's just something that it's been done, and it's just my childhood. And I love Mary Poppins, and like I watched Mary Poppins Returns, and I only liked Mary Poppins Returns because I liked Mary Poppins so much.
Right. Yeah.
And you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't
So
watched Mary
it's just
Poppins
like-
Returns yet, but I could see that being the case.
Yeah, and the fact that I enjoy that because it just brought memories of the old one, and it made me want to watch the old one again, like the first one, the original, the only Mary Poppins. And although Mary Poppins Return is good, it will never be Mary Poppins. And
Yeah,
Emily
which
Blunt
is
is
fair.
amazing. Yeah, and I think my favorite song, I've got two, I think is Chim Chim Chiri
Yeah.
and Let's Go and Fly a Kite.
Oh,
Let's
that's a beautiful
go
track.
fly a kite up. Yeah. And I can't say Chim Chim Chiri very well because, like other films, I watched this mainly in Italian, and Italian say "Come coming in, come coming in."
Chim
Spazza
chimney,
coming.
chim chimney, chim chim
Allegro e
chiroo.
felice pensieri non ho. Yeah.
When I was in primary school, my primary school end of year show one year was Mary Poppins. They did an adaptation of Mary Poppins, and I desperately, more than anything in my short life had ever wanted, I desperately wanted to be a penguin, and I auditioned to be a penguin, and they wouldn't let me be a penguin, and it was devastating. I had to be a chimney sweep instead, which which is probably a better.
It's a
But
bigger role.
I just wanted to be. I wasn't like the Dick Van Dyne. I was just like one of the chimney sweeps, if you see what I mean, in the scene. But I wanted to be a penguin so badly. And
That's really tragic.
It still upsets me. I did my little penguin walk across the stage as an audition, and I didn't get picked. I was gutted.
Why won't teachers just let the children do what they want to do? Like,
Yeah,
no,
I
you can't
agree.
be a penguin. I want to be a penguin. Well, you can
Just-
be a penguin.
just let
If
me
you were
be a
my kid,
penguin.
I would let you be the penguin.
Thank you. That's all I
You're
want.
welcome.
Yeah,
Cool.
no, that's an amazing choice. It's a good
Yeah.
good musical. It's a good film. I adore it.
I love Julie Andrews. She's the best.
But no Sound of
Yeah.
Music. You went for Mary Poppins instead.
Yeah. Sound of Music. Yeah. No.
Right, fair
I'm
enough.
amazed that your number one is not Hamilton. So your number one would be a big surprise.
It just might be.
Ooh.
You ready?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So, something is happening. The timelines are splitting. Dimensions are opening up. Something's changing. What's going on? Oh no. So, finally, at the end of my rewatch, I'm ready to share my top 10 Buffy episodes with you, and I'm pretty excited about it. So, in at number 10 is
What?
Chosen, the finale of season 7, the series ending episode. I watched it this afternoon as I finally finished my Buffy rewatch. Pretty exciting stuff. It's a series ender, but it's pretty good. I like it a lot. It's got some beautiful moments. There's a bit where Buffy tells Spike that she loves him, and he says, "No, you don't." And it's just, it made me cry. In at number 9 is the prom in season 3. Where
I'm going with you because I don't know what's happening. Like, I'm so confused.
In at number 9 is the prom in season 3, where Buffy is determined to allow her friends to have a normal prom and fights off several hellhounds to allow it to happen. And then Jonathan gives her the Class Protector Award, and they acknowledge how many lives she's saved while they've been in high school. And it's beautiful, and it makes me cry. And it's a little umbrella. I love it. Number 8 is just a good kind of solid Monster of the Week type episode, Tabula Rasa, in season 6, where due to a spell that Willow has done, they all lose their memories and don't know who they are. And Spike thinks that he's Giles' son because they're both English, and all the characters kind of rearrange. And Giles and Anya think that they're married. It's a very funny episode. It's really good, worth watching. In at number 7 is another kind of just really funny, good classic episode in season 4, Something Blue, which is the one where Willow makes a spell where anything that she says happens. So she says that Buffy and Spike should just marry each other. So suddenly Spike proposes to Buffy and she says yes. And she tells Giles that he never sees anything, so Giles goes blind. She tells Xander that he's a demon magnet, so he starts getting attacked by demons out of nowhere. It's a pretty good, funny episode, especially watching Sarah Michelle Gellar and James Masters pretend to be madly in love as Spike and Buffy. Pretty funny stuff. In at number 6 is another deeply emotional episode, The Gift, the final episode of season 5, where Buffy makes a huge sacrifice in order to save her sister Dawn and the rest of the world, and there's a bit where she says the hardest thing in this world is to live in it, and it makes me cry again because it's just so beautiful. And at number 5 is Restless, the season 4 finale, which season 4 is an odd season because Adam is defeated. The big bad of season 4 is defeated in the penultimate episode, and then the finale is just the Scooby Gang going to sleep, and their dreams are invaded by the spirit of the first Slayer, and it's Joss Whedon sort of getting his full David Lynch on and going quite weird with these dream sequences, but they're pretty good. And like, there's a great one where Willow ends up back in high school, and they have her dressed in the same outfit that Willow is dressed in the season 1 pilot episode, and it really lets you see how far Willow has grown as a character. It's great. Number 4 is Doppelgangland, another great Willow episode where evil Willow or vampire Willow comes in from another dimension while Anya is doing a spell to try and get her powers back, and then it's got, normal Willow and vampire Willow interacting. There's a point where they all think that Willow has died and become a vampire, and they're all scared of normal Willow, and she doesn't know why, and it's very funny. And then when there's a bit where normal Willow is dressed as vampire Willow, pretending to be vampire Willow, it's great. It's so good. Number 3 is Halloween from season 2, which is the earliest episode on my list. I'm like absolutely I think it's the first truly perfect episode of Buffy. It's where their Halloween costumes, they turn into their Halloween costumes. So Buffy is dressed up as a medieval princess, so she forgets that she's the Slayer and becomes this kind of scared princess. Xander is dressed up as a soldier, so he becomes a real soldier, and they actually then, for the rest of the series, pretty much, they're constantly like, he'll be like, oh, I remember when I was a soldier. I remember how, like, that his soldier skills kind of go with him. And Willow is dressed as a ghost, and there's a bit where she's dressed as a sexy ghost, and she's too scared to go out wearing it, so she puts her sort of just bedsheet over her head, and then when the costume magic comes out, she kind of gets up and the blanket falls off, and she's kind of dressed in this slightly more provocative outfit, and it's kind of the first time that Willow kind of feels comfortable in her body kind of thing. By the end of the episode, it's a really good character moment for Willow. I really like it. It's good. Number 2 is Hush, the silent episode from season 4, where the gentlemen arrive in Sunnydale and steal everyone's voices. It's a perfect episode of TV. In terms of like Monster of the Week episodes of Buffy, it's easily the best one. It's just great. It's it's genuinely scary in a way that TV struggles to be, and I love it. Number 1, and the timelines, they're reconverging and they're coming back and everything is fine. My top number 1 episode of Buffy is also my top number 1 musical. It is Once More with Feeling, the musical episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. It's the absolute greatest thing ever. This is how much I love Once More with Feeling, Alex. When I was watching Buffy when it was first on, and this episode was on TV, I recorded it, I watched it over and over and over again, and around the same time I was learning to play the piano. My grandmother was teaching me piano. I brought the book of music from that episode and tried to learn how to play the songs, because that's how much I loved it. It is
awesome.
It is a big part of my growing up, for some reason, is Once More with Feeling. Have you seen it?
I don't remember. I would have remembered if I've seen it, wouldn't I?
Probably. A demon arrives in Sunnydale and casts a spell that makes everybody sing. And it works really well because they sing about things that they would not... That season is all about them not communicating properly, and that's a point in the season where there's a few things that they have to talk to each other about, and the spell makes them sing about it to each other. And some home truths get revealed, and it's really well done. Like the way it works as a standalone episode is great. The songs are actually incredible, like really, really good. Joss Whedon wrote them, and then Christoph Beck helped him to kind of flesh them out. And Christoph Beck is now a huge name in kind of film scores and stuff like that. And it's great. It's really, really good. Each character kind of gets their own song. Spike's song is like a big rock song. Buffy opens it with this kind of classic Disney-style song at the start. My favourite track, though, is one that I didn't like when I was a teenager, but fell in love with when I rewatched it on my rewatch recently, which was an emotional... I brought a big bucket of ice cream for this. When I got to Once More with Feeling on my rewatch, I went out and bought some ice cream and some snacks and popcorn, and I had a time. It was great. And the song that Tara, because Alison Hannigan was too embarrassed and too nervous to sing, so she doesn't really get much singing lines. So Willow doesn't have much of a part in the episode, but Amber Benson, who played Tara, actually has a brilliant voice. So she gets this big song where she's singing to Willow about how much she loves her. And it's called Under Your Spell. And it's a beautiful
Rings a
song.
bell.
It makes me
Rings a
cry.
bell.
And there is a great bit where there's a bit where the lyric is "You make me complete," but she's just going, "You make me complete." And then while she's singing that, she's on the bed with Willow, and Willow is rising up in the air. It's pretty wonderful. It's pretty incredible, powerful, love between the two of them, and it's great. It's absolutely fun. And it went over my head when I was a teenager in a big way. I did not get the implication of that scene at all. I know it's a 45-minute long or 50-minute long episode of a TV show, but it's my favorite musical, and it's my favorite episode of Buffy, which now, I mean, at some point I have to do a reworking of because I'd forgotten, before I did this rewatch, I'd forgotten how much I love Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Like, it is great, and my top 5 American TV shows needs to include it. So at some point I'll just do a quick update on that, but I'm not ready for that yet. But yeah, Once More with Feeling is the best episode of Buffy. It's my favorite musical. What do you think?
Yeah. I love when you just have surprises and you just go like a train and you won't explain anything, and I just have to okay, okay, yeah, that's fine. You do your own rules, George. Do your own thing.
Sorry.
As a payback, you know what you're watching for next week.
Okay.
Cool. Well, fun. I think I remember. I think I need to watch a couple of songs, but I think I remember that episode. It kind of rings a bell. I'll have a look. Look.
Good.
Nice one.
All right. Have you got any honourable mentions?
What, should we do the 5 to 1 first?
Oh yeah. Sorry. What's your 5 to 1?
So my top 5. My number 5 is Grease. My number 4 is Moulin Rouge! ! Number 3 is The Lion King, the 1994 version. My number 2 is Bugsy Malone, and my number 1 is Mary Poppins.
I love it.
What is your top 5?
My top 5 is number 5 is The Muppet Christmas Carol. Number 4 is Pitch Perfect. Number 3 is Anna and the Apocalypse. Number 2 is Hamilton. And number 1 is Once More with Feeling from season 6 of Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Awesome, Saucher. So, honorable mentions. I think my first one has to be Pitch Perfect because
that's fair.
I can't believe I missed out. So, Pitch Perfect. And then a few, like the ones I mentioned before from Alan Parker, which I didn't realize I watched so many of his musicals. Fame, 1980 Fame, about a group of kids that are in this Fame Academy. Pink Floyd The Wall is it's a concept, I think is like a concept album mainly. Pretty cool. Yeah. And then that was in 1982. The Commitments, which I completely forgot. 1991, great film. Then Chorus Line, but the movie version, I've never seen the stage version, directed by Richard Attenborough. The Book of Mormon is the only stage musical I've seen live in London. Beauty and the Beast, 1991 film. Bedknobs and Broomsticks, I spoke about it before. Beautiful film with Angela Lansbury. The Nightmare Before Christmas. Jesus Christ Superstar, the 1973 film. It's got one of the best songs ever, which is I Don't Know How to Love Him, when Mary Magdalene sings to Jesus. Beautiful, amazing. And then Gentlemen Prefer Blondes. It's a musical, but there's only about 4 songs in it. But I love that film, so I'm putting it in.
I don't know what it is, but sure.
With Marilyn Monroe and Jane Russell.
Okay.
You don't know Gentlemen Prefer Blondes?
No, I don't think I've ever heard those words.
Maybe quite continental, but diamonds are a girl's best friend.
I recognise that.
Yeah, the song. Yeah, that's the song. But amazing film, beautiful. But yeah, cool. Those are my honorable mentions.
Nice, good. Okay, so my honourable mentions are, like you, one of the few musicals I've seen live is The Book of Mormon, so that's my first honourable mention. Oliver, which is probably my best sort of childhood musical that I watched when I was a kid. I loved Oliver. Mary Poppins, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, the Gene Wilder version of that film.
Yes.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good musical.
It's so good.
Yeah. A Star Is Born, the Lady Gaga one. I really like that film. I got a big soft spot for Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper in that film.
Never watched it.
Aladdin, the Disney Aladdin is. I like Lion King a lot, but I don't know. I like the songs in Aladdin. I probably like Lion King more as a film, but I think I like the Aladdin's songs more, if that makes sense. Nightmare Before Christmas, like you. Mamma Mia, I have a big soft spot for Mamma Mia, the ABBA film.
I forgot about that. I love Mamma Mia.
And another one that it's not a good film, but I have a big soft spot for it because Tom Cruise is quite entertaining in it, is Rock of Ages. Yeah, which is the sort of 80s hair metal jukebox musical type thing. That's a good one.
See, I think the problem I had this week is like I wasn't really sure how well, like, kind of musical. So anything that's got lots of songs in it is a musical, isn't it? Like School of Rock would be a musical.
School of Rock, probably, yeah, I'd say so. It's an odd definition of music. There's not, anyway. So and we don't normally do this, but I do have 2 dishonourable mentions because they have to be mentioned.
I know one of them.
Oh, do you? Well, Cats.
You spoke about it, yeah.
Yeah, Cats. I just have to mention again how bad that is. It's awful.
Yeah.
And then the other one is the Rocky Horror Picture Show. I don't like it, and I'm tired of pretending that I do.
I was talking about it and to someone, and I was like, I don't like that. I don't understand why people like it.
Yeah, I don't understand why people like it. I find it irritating. I find people singing the Time Walk song, just go, just get in a bin. Yeah. Anyway, I don't want to poo on people's things they like too much, but I just feel like there's an assumption that people like that, and I don't like it. So there we go.
No, me neither. I'm with you.
Good. I'm glad. Thank you. So, homework. What are you assigning me?
I'm assigning you Bugsy Malone.
Fine.
I'm assigning to you because I feel that maybe there is a chance that you might really enjoy it.
Okay, we'll see. Right, okay,
but
cool.
Also, I think the songs are really good. Like, even, like, I would say that if you don't enjoy the actual film, I think you would enjoy the songs.
Okay. Right, okay. Yeah. I will watch it. I'll watch Bugsy Malone, and I'll get back to you on it. Okay. I'm assigning...
What do I have to watch?
You have to watch Once More with Feeling, the musical episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Okay.
Thank you. Great.
Yes, I want to watch that. Yeah.
I'm interested to see what you think of it.
Yeah.
So you should also watch Anna and the Apocalypse at some point, but I feel like...
I definitely want to watch that, actually. Yeah.
I feel like I want to talk to you more about Buffy.
So anything that you would recommend this week?
What, for my culture catch-up?
Yeah.
I think Citizen Kane. You haven't seen Citizen Kane, get it watched. And the second season of The Mandalorian. Those are my 2 things. Something old and something new. How about you?
I would definitely recommend Ma Rainey's Black Bottom and probably The Life Ahead as well. Okay.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah.
As always. Next week, we're getting back in our time machine. And we're heading to the 1990s, and we're going to do our top 5 90s films.
Yes, baby.
Yes,
this is exciting.
Baby. I'm pretty excited about it. I grew up in the 90s, and I have opinions about films that were made in the 90s, so let's do it. Let's go.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, the 90s was a good era for films.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was a weird era for films. It was like commonly thought of as a bad era for horror films, which is one of my favourite things.
Yeah.
But Scream came out in the 90s, so how true can that be, really? Anyway.
Anywho.
Let's be talking next week about the 90s. But for now, thank you for joining us. You please do come and join us on all of the social medias. We're most active on Instagram at Culture Bucket podcast, I think is our handle.
Yes.
We share a lot of things on there, things that we're watching and doing and stuff like that. So please come and have a look. It'd be fun to interact with you. And look us up on Twitter, and all of the social media links are in the notes for this episode. We have a Facebook group as well, discussion group. Please join that and join the discussion. It'd be nice to get some conversations in there. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.